Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. So guys, this is a review for Power Book 2 Ghost. Season 2, episode 5, Coming Home to Roost. And baby, they should have called this lies, deceit, okay? Trifling, messy, because that's what they was giving us, all right? So we start out the episode with Zeke, Davis, and Monet riding in a limo to take him to turn himself in. And we have Davis telling Zeke, like, you got to keep your head low. You know, don't talk to nobody. Keep to yourself until we could get this figured out, because you're going to have other inmates that's looking for any way, you know, to get themselves out of their situations that would come and try to say something about you. And, you know, as they pulling up there, he's like, we're going to go through the back. That way we don't have to deal with the press. And Monet is basically saying to Zeke, don't worry about this. We're going to work this out. We're going to get you out of this. And at this point, Zeke is over Monet, okay? He was like, whatever. Like, he didn't give a damn. And what she had to say, he was like, if you was going to be able to do something, you would have been done, did it. And we had, you know, them going in. And it's some guy, you know, little short cop standing there, and he's like, you know, we're bringing a prisoner that have to turn himself in. And he's like, what prisoner? And when he looks up, he sees them. So Monet's like, what's going on? I thought they were supposed to be ready for us when we got here. And Sullivan, cop Kevin Stalker, and Camille Tate come out, and they're like, listen, we no longer need Zeke to turn himself in. And Davis is like, huh? What happened? I ain't hear you. Like, why he don't have to turn himself in now? And so he was like, well, my client deserves, you know, a full press release, which y'all saying that he's innocent and that he should have never been brought in here in the first damn place. And I agree with Davis. Y'all railroaded this kid and put him on Front Street, and now it's just like, oh, well, we made a mistake. And Camille was about to say something, and Detective Stalker basically cut him off and, you know, interrupted him so that he couldn't say it, and was just like, this is an ongoing investigation, so we can't release all the information, you know, to you guys. But no, we're no longer interested in Zeke. And then Monet is telling Zeke, like, see, I told you it was all gonna work out. I told you was gonna be good. And for about a minute, Zeke turned into a whole nother person. His demeanor was different. The way he talked was different. And he was like, it don't matter. I've already been tainted. This is already going to mess me up with the draft. Just the fact that they was questioning me from the beginning. And she's like, I'm going to go ahead and drop you off at the school, at the campus, or whatever the case may be. Don't worry about it. You going to be all right. Then we had, Camille calling out Detective Stalker. He pulls him in the office and was like, why did you interrupt me when I was talking to them? And he started getting in his behind. He was like, you know, you cutting me off every minute. Let me finish. He's been trying to tell his raggedy behind about Jabari and the fact that he read what he had there, and about his notes in his book. And he was like, he was talking about these people in his book that's selling drug. Of course, he changes the name and the places. We seen that he did that when he wrote the book about Kerry. But at the end of the day, he's obviously talking about somebody that's a real person that's there, and we need to look more into that. He was like, you know, you got Tariq St. Patrick there, who was one of the people that was on the list, and who also was a person of that had spoke to Jabari. So he was like, and, you know, his father was into different stuff. And of course, you know, freaking Stalker ass is still like, oh, we don't know for sure. And Zeke could have still been behind this and that or whatever, and still into it. But he was like, okay, go ahead. We'll go ahead and look into that. We then had, Lauren in the bathroom looking at her watch, and Tariq jumps up, realizing he's waking up late, and he sees a text saying about Zeke turning himself in, and he's like, I gotta go. And she's basically putting the watch back in the medicine cabinet and talking about, wait. And by the time she came out that bathroom, Tariq was going with the wind. Okay, he got stuff to do. And he basically, goes in the room where Braden is at, and he's asking him, has Kane been around? Braden lies and says no, and damn well he been hanging tough with Kane. And he says, any of the Tahidas ask about me, you don't know nothing, you don't know where I'm at. And he's getting the paper, where the grandmother's trying to take him for custody of Yaz. And he also gets a gun and takes that with him, or whatever the case may be. And so you know, he's telling Tariq about the fact that they've been questioning a lot of people. They pulled a couple of their customers out, and they're supposed to be doing this drug search. And because Tariq is so wrapped up into this, you know, the custody hearing, he's just like, okay, yeah, we'll talk about that later. And he goes on about his business, not knowing that that was a conversation he needed to be stopping and having, okay? And, you know, Carrie gets a phone call from Monet. And Monet is basically telling her, like, we don't need you no more. Whatever you doing, stop doing it, okay? And Zeke is out. And if you come anywhere near him, I'm going to clean your ass out. Like, you know what I mean? That's going to be the end of you. And then you have Kamal coming to Carrie for help. And of course she got Detective Stalker with him. So she don't trust him, and she ain't trying to hear what they saying at first. But he was like, you told me you was with law enforcement before. You know, I know you was cool with Jabari. Don't you want to know who killed him? He was like, we got this information on this book that he was writing. And if anything, if you read it, maybe you would know who he's talking about. So she takes the flash drive from Kamal. Then you have Monet and Dante meeting up in the bar. And she's like, listen, I've been playing myself. I've been getting caught up in the BS. I can't no more. She was like, that's why I had you meet me here. That way I'm not tempted to do nothing. I don't fall into nothing. You know, I'm not no little teenager no more. I got a lot at stake. And she was like, we don't need your help no more. Zeke is out. And I got to get my priorities in order now. And Dante, aka Mecca, is basically saying, listen, he stole my son, and I still want to meet him and be in his life. And he was like, you know, I still want to have something with you. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not leaving New York. He was like, this doesn't have to change anything. Look at this life that you're living. You know, look at the clothes you're wearing. I know the stuff that you have to do to be able to get this done. And I know it's not coming from this bar. And he pulls out this paper that basically has a trust for each of the kids, okay? Not just Zeke. And he's like, all you got to do is, you know, sign it. And she's basically telling him, you know, oh, well, I don't need all that no more. I got an exit plan. Of course, her exit plan is for, you know, Zeke to go on the draft. And it's like, girl, Monet, like, let it go, you know? And so, like I said, Dante is like, I'm not leaving without you, and I'm not going to give up. You know, I'm going to stay around. And you ain't getting rid of me that easy. And so you have Carrie and Congressman Tate come in the class, or whatever the case may be. And of course, normally the class coincides with the title of the, you know, of the episode. And usually what they talking about will kind of have to do with what's going on in the episode. So all of a sudden, we got Tariq coming in, and Lauren was kind of annoying me because she always got to ask 1,000 damn questions. Soon as he come in, oh, well, what happened to you? Where did you go? Da, 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 da. And he's like, listen, I'm trying to get this situation straight. I got to get an apartment. Oh, well, do you need my help? And, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And so in the meantime, you know, that same time, the class is starting with Tate and Carrie, and Carrie come changing the lesson plan. They like, wait a minute, that wasn't what we was talking about in the syllabus. All of a sudden, she want to talk about karma, okay, coming back to you. And so you got different people answering the questions, but no matter what, she's cutting off everybody and keep going. Tariq, what you think about that? And you're not answering the question right, though. You need to give a more thorough answer than that. And he's like, well, I don't know what else you want me to say to you. And he's getting confused at why she's coming so hard at him. And then when the class is over and him and Lauren is walking out, it's like they seeing Zeke, you know, out there, whatever. And Lauren gonna talk about Zeke is free. Should he be free and looking or whatever? And at the same time, they see that Monet is standing there, and she's like, who's that? Like, she be being so damn nosy. And he was like, oh, that's Zeke's I gotta go talk to her, excuse me. And she basically looking. So Monet takes you know, Tariq, tells him to come on, and she drives him somewhere, you know, under some bridge or something, okay, whatever the case may be. And she's saying to him, what was the one rule? And he was like, you know, basically to take care of Zeke, make sure he don't get into no trouble. She was like, well, you didn't do a good job with that. And he was like, well, first of all, I didn't know anything about him and Milgram getting it in. I didn't know nothing about this situation or whatever. And when I did find out he was in a situation, I was the first one to call Davis and make sure that he had, you know, somebody to legally represent him and all of that. And then she was like, well, you know, Kane told me what happened and you lied to me and you knew that you wasn't supposed to lie. So right now, you should be gone. But she was like, I'm going to give you a chance to get back in with me and prove yourself to me. And he's like, anything. So she tells him to find out who Kane's connect is. And he's like, okay, cool, I could do that. At the same time, she then turns around and tells Kane to find out what Tariq's weakness is so she can know how to control him and what she could use against him if need be. And Kane is basically there coming out the damn bathroom when Brayden gets back to the room, and he's asking, about Tariq again. And Brayden is basically like, I don't know, maybe he with his girlfriend. He been spending a lot of time there. Like, one thing about Brayden, yeah, he been sneaking off with Kane when his ass ain't supposed to and when Tariq warns him about him. But he haven't been giving up none of Tariq business. When it comes to that part, he's pretty much like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, Brayden, but yeah, you need to be looking at Kane a little bit more funny now too. One time you came and he was already in the room laid on the bed. Like, he's just coming and popping up every minute now and walking in and just being a little too comfortable. Now this time he coming out the damn bathroom talking about you may not want to go in there for a minute. Like, you don't find none of that strange? So anyway, at the same time that they're in there conversating and he just finished saying that Tariq may be with his girlfriend, Lauren comes her ass there looking for Tariq and Brayden was like, I thought he was with you. And he's at this point trying to dismiss both of them and get both of them up out the damn room. He's like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm about to go eat something. And meanwhile, you got Kane trying to be cute because Lauren gonna talk about some who's this, like she being too damn nosy. And he was like, oh, hey, light skin or something like that, he said. And he was like, oh, my name is Lorenzo. Okay, so we found out that he's actually named after his dad. And he's like, give me your number. And if I see him, then I could tell him, call you and let you know I see him. And she basically doesn't pay him any mind and leaves. Then, Lauren does mention to them like, oh, well, no, he was supposed to have something to do with finding the apartment and in the custody hearing. Like, she runs her mouth too much and she asks too many damn questions. And so then basically we had seen that Lauren was at the police station and she was saying like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I can't do it. I don't want to do it no more. Y'all going to have to find somebody else. And this part with Carrie really pissed me the hell off. I'm sorry. I'm over her behind now. I remember I was sticking up for her and saying, Tariq, don't be dirty. Don't throw her under the bus and, put that phone in her desk. Now I'm starting to wish she did, because she's pushing Lauren like crazy. Like, oh, you could do this. And don't you want to find out what happened to Brayden? And, if anything, we thinking that it's probably, we found out what happened to Jabari rather. And if anything, we think that is Brayden, Tariq's roommate, that basically was mixed up in all of this. And that's basically, doing the drugs, because everybody was saying that it was a white boy. And she was like, we need you to go in there and record. And this time they saying they'll do a live recording where they actually listening to it, then and there, as opposed to her having to bring it back and them having to find the recording. Because they was like, well, where's the rest of it? Because basically that little part of her going in the room with Brayden and Kane is now recorded. And she's saying that the guy name was Lorenzo. So of course they go and they look up Kane's information or whatever the case may be, and they find like a little, record on him, and also find out that his father's locked up. And so basically now Whitman is still jumping to Zeke like, he's related to Zeke, he's his cousin. Well, he could have told him to do it. And Camilla keeps saying to him, Kamal, he keeps saying to him, why the hell you still keep going back to Zeke? I don't think Zeke has anything to do with this. And so he's just still like, don't want to hear it and trying to still connect it to that some kind of way. But he's like, we're going to go ahead and look into this guy. So you have Tariq go talk to the conservator again, Mr. Alvin. And he telling him he want him to be the lawyer for Yaz's case. And basically he's like, no, you know, I can't do that. It's some type of thing or whatever that he have to find somebody else. And he's like, well, at the end of the day, my father put you in charge. And if my grandmother's been misusing the funds and doing all this different stuff, isn't that part of your job to make sure that Yaz is in a proper home? So then he says, you know, he will do it, but he can only do it with this part and that part. And he's like, make sure you there on time and make sure you have the apartment and have everything that you need. And then Tariq says okay, and he goes, you know, about his business. Then you got Kane talking to Dante again, aka Mecca, complaining that Monet is still treating Tariq better. He was like, you know, I don't understand it. Even after everything that I did, some kind of way she still comes down on me harder than she comes down on him. And Dante's advice to him is like, oh, you gotta you know, ice out Tariq or whatever the case may be. And I'm still trying to find the angle that Dante is coming from. Like, why are you still messing with Kane? Why are you entertaining him? I'm not getting that part. Why are you still so intrigued and asking all these questions and snooping your behind around? At one point, he even says, so you're the one that did all of this. And Kane tried to be like, no. And he was like, come on, I already know you and I know your style. So you wouldn't even been involved and been doing all this stuff and saying you needed somebody else to put it on or whatever and thinking about leaving if it wasn't you that did it. So he was like, that part is pretty much common sense, which it is. And, you know, I don't get that part. I'm still trying to see where's he going with that, because at this point you've already been able to talk to Monet directly, you know. So I guess we'll eventually find out what that is all about. And then Everett and Drew is together. Everett is basically saying that now that Zeke is back, that means that he falls down to like number 2 or whatever as far as the draft goes. And Drew is like, I didn't even know you had any intentions on going into the draft and going away or whatever. And he was like, well, now I might have a reason to stay. And then there's knocking at the door, and, you know, he tells Everett, like, go ahead, open it up. And when he opens it, it's Zeke. And Zeke is there like, hey, yeah, man, I'm feeling good. And I got a new outlook on life. And he done got his hair dyed blonde and got him a pink sweater on. And then he was like, oh, you about to do, you know, freaky Zeke with the ladies. And he was like, nah, it's not even about that. You know, I'm having a whole new outlook on life and all this. And then he's like, well, wait, Drew, what are you doing here? And he was like, how do y'all know each other? And they was like, oh, well, you know, basically from the, what do you call it? From the nightclub or whatever the case may be. He was like, remember the nightclub, the night we want to forget. And so then he was like, oh, okay, yeah. So Tariq calls Diana, and he's basically asking her for a favor with, you know, Kane. And he's also asking her, like, you know, I can't get nothing from Monet. I need to get it from Kane. And she's like, no, you're going to have to tell me everything. And he was like, listen, I'm fighting for my sister. He gives her the whole breakdown of that scenario. And he was like, I really don't trust Kane, so I need you to do me this favor and go to him to get it. And she was like, well, now that you say that, I don't trust him either. You know what I'm saying? And I know that he is the one that switched the product and changed it to sugar. You know, I have a pretty good idea that he's the one that did that. So I need you to look out for him too. So like I said, this should have been lies, deceit, sneaking and looking and peeking and watching and backstabbing, because baby, that's all everybody was doing with everybody. And so they both was like, okay, they basically make a pact that they're gonna do that or whatever. And then Kane and Diana is having a conversation. She goes to meet up with him. And he's like, man, why should I do this for Tariq? You know, why? And so then, like I said, she's telling him about this whole custody thing. So, of course, this would be his information that he needs to go back and tell Monet that she would be over Tariq head to make him do what, you know, he wants him to do. And she also lets Kane know, like, I know you're the one that switched the product for the sugar or whatever so that you could get back in with the family. And he was like, oh, well, you don't have no concrete proof for that or whatever. And she was like, well, at the end of the day, if I bring it up to Monet, you know, she'll figure that part out. So then, of course, he agrees to it because he don't want her going back and telling Monet nothing. He's like, you really would do that? And she's like, hell yeah, I would. And so, you know, he goes ahead and agrees to it. But he was like, Tariq better be the one to come himself to meet him. Then you have Monet go see Lorenzo, you know, in jail or whatever. And she's letting him know that Zeke is getting out. And he was like, see, I told you everything was going to work out and that you just needed to be patient or whatever. And she was like, yeah, maybe I could have been a little bit more patient. And in the middle of them sitting there, you get Saxe calling, Lorenzo, and telling him that he got the money from his daughter and the court hearing is tomorrow and they working on it and it look good. He was like, can you talk right now? And so Lorenzo basically puts him on hold and was like, yeah, and gonna tell Monet like, oh, I'm sorry, I have to take this. And she was like, really? And then he's just looking at her and she like, oh, okay. And she get up and she leave. That had me laughing so hard. I was like, okay, he done threw damn Monet out and just dismissed her. And so then, he get back on the phone with him and he telling him it look good that he will probably get out or whatever the case may be because of the new information that they have. Then you have Whitman talking to Sullivan in like this bar or whatever. And mind you, Kamal had already said to him, as far as this new information that we have, don't tell Sullivan nothing yet. We want to make sure that it's concrete and that we got more than enough info this time, especially after what just happened with Zeke. So wait until we get further info and evidence. He already in the damn bar telling her, and she's even saying, okay, well, I'll wait till y'all get whatever. I'm not going to just rush out and want to do nothing again. And so in the meantime, Saxe is walking and I guess she was supposed to be meeting up with him. And Saxe is giving him the funny look like, who's that? And she like, oh, don't worry about it. And then Whitman looking back at him funny too. I swear I can't stand his behind. I can't wait for them to get him. Then you got Kane questioning Brayden again. Brayden ended up being the one to come pick up the stuff. And he was like, I thought I said that it had to be Tyreek or whatever. And he was like, he has something else to do. And he trying to question Brayden. Brayden like, I don't know. I'm not his keeper. I'm not his mama. I'm not his daddy. He had things to do or whatever. He was like, yeah, but I thought you said y'all was business partners and y'all was equal. You know how he always trying to do that separation shit in mind games or whatever. And Brayden is basically like, listen, I'm here. This shit have nothing to do with it. At the end of the day, you still gonna get your money and business still gonna flow. That's the only thing you should be worried about. So Tyreek had borrowed Lauren's car and he's like watching all of this and he's recording because remember Monet wanted him to follow him and find out who the connect is. So, basically, Tyreek is following him everywhere. And then he sees him get out the car. He sees him drive to where Mecca's at, get out the car. He see him put in the code in and he's recording all of this stuff from his phone. Then he walks up closer. I really didn't understand that part. I thought he just was going to get that recording and then get back in the car. But he actually walked up to where the buzzer and the camera was at, which that was a mistake, obviously, because Nuff comes behind him and basically chokes him up and was like holding him like, do you know who this is? And he was like, who you here for? What you trying to watch for? And Tyreek is saying, nothing. I wasn't doing anything or whatever the case may be. And of course they can see, from the camera, and it's Chef and Kane looking from upstairs, and Chef is asking Kane over and over, you don't know this person? They didn't follow you here? Oh no, I don't know him. I never seen him a day before in my life or whatever, which I was kind of surprised that Kane was saying that. And so then you got Nuff choking him and beating the mess out of him. I said, damn, Tyreek, you need to learn how to fight, boy. You be getting your ass whipped. And so, of course, Chef is just still asking him and giving him a side eye. You could tell that Chef really don't believe what he's saying. But then he tells Nuff to just let him go, because there is some other group that's been after them. And they was like, well, what if it's one of those guys or whatever the case may be? And then at this point, Dante is up there. And so now he's questioning it. And he's telling Kane, like, tell me the truth. Did you know him? Did he follow you here? Because we know that your other homeboy followed you here one time. And then he's like, no. And so Nuff is basically like, yo, he came right after you or whatever the case may be. He was like, he had to be somebody that was following you or whatever. He was like, you gonna believe this ninja and what he telling you? And all of a sudden, you just seen Dante give this head nod. And baby Chef slit Nuff's throat without even blinking or barely moving. And baby, I knew it was gonna be more to Chef than meets the eye, okay? I was even saying maybe he could be the one in charge, if not the partner. And he sure enough was chopping up more and cutting up more than meat, potatoes, and vegetables, okay? So we finally got to see him in action. And I was like, damn, then Nuff was just laying there bleeding out all over the place. And so, of course, they still have Tariq phone there with them as well. And Davis is talking to his brother in jail. You know, he's telling him how Saxe is getting Tahita out and how their case is kind of similar. And you know, he's charged with a homicide, but his witnesses that said he didn't do it. And he was like, you know, this is looking real good. Now that he got him to do that, you know, I guess he'll be moving him to do his next. And Redman is kind of like, listen, I'm cool with being in here. I'm okay. Like right now I'm missing a damn game that I need to get back to or whatever. He's like, you trying to get me out of here and I'm trying to keep you from getting in. So obviously whatever went down, Davis apparently had to be involved in, okay? And it looks like Redman is in there because he don't want him to have to be in there. You know, he's like, yo, you a lawyer, you doing good. You know, I want you to stay that way. And I guess he feels like if he does get let out, then that means that they still would be looking for the person and they could put Davis in jeopardy. So I'm like, oh, we getting real interesting here. What you was doing, Davis? What really went down, okay? Inquiring minds want to know. And so then you got Tariq all beat up and going by Monet's house asking for her, and you know, Diana trying to clean him up or whatever, and you know, Drew gets back at the same time, like, what's going on? So now when Tariq got the damn appointment to go to the next morning to see the house, of course he gets there late. Tariq is late for every damn thing. I don't care. He's just on CP time. And he's all beat the hell up. So the lady is looking and she's like, no, the appointment is already gone. Like, that's a wrap with that. And so Lauren ends up taking him and showing him her brother's place. She's like, my brother's not here. He's not coming back no time soon. It's empty. My parents gave me the keys. She was like, I wanted to bring it up to you one time before, but I didn't think that you would accept it, you know. And she gives him a lease that he could use for the court situation and everything. She's like, it's a couch here, it's a bedroom here. So, you know, he all kissing on her like, you know, thank you or whatever. And then here she goes, and I'm like, Tariq, how do you not find this the least bit suspicious? Basically, she's asking all of these questions about Braden, and she's saying that, you know, why wasn't Braden seemed like he didn't care? He was sitting there talking about the girls he could get with and all of that when the professor basically got killed. And, you know, could he be the one person that Jabari was talking about in his book? None of this is sending red flags to Tariq. Tariq is just like, no, first of all, Jabari was never messed with no white dude, okay? And that wasn't who it was because Jabari told me who the book was about. I'm like, oh my God, Tariq, why the hell would you say that? And he was like, he didn't know Jabari anyway, so why would he get emotional about it? Because even with Tariq, when he wasn't all crying and upset, she had asked him something similar, and he was like, I really didn't know him like that. Plus, I've lost so many different people. So she killed me how she's always looking and judging people on, you know, how they acting, and she was so quick to want to throw Braden underneath the damn bus. But nonetheless, the cops is hearing all of this, okay? And so now they like, listen, Tariq was on the list of suspects. He was the last person to speak to Jabari. We literally have him on tape saying that Jabari told him who the book was about. And we know that his father was into different stuff. He's like, now we have what we need to get a warrant and search his room. I'm like, oh God, because we already know that Kane done hid the damn badge in his damn room or whatever. And so we then had Tariq going to the court or whatever, you know, trying to hurry up and get over there. He's already cutting it close and about to run late to get there. And here come Monet stopping him and basically going to put the child lock on and tell him that she's locking him in the car and not letting him out, that he's going to miss this hearing with his sister and know how it feels to almost lose something or to lose something the same way that she basically was going to lose Zeke. And I'm like, are you serious, Monet? Like, wait a minute, y'all. Hold on. Because Kane had came and gave her Tariq's phone. And he basically ended up, you know, going in on her ass or whatever, saying, all this time I've been mad at Tariq, but Tariq is really not the person that I should be mad at, is you. You know, he basically gave her the phone that, you know, Nuff had took from him and threw it there and was like, so you had Tariq following me and watching me all this time to find out who the connect was, right? And he's like, what am I? Am I your son? Or am I your soldier? And she gonna talk about both. And he said, well, then what kind of mother does that make you? So he was getting up in her behind, baby. And I was like, he ain't lying. I mean, he really ain't wrong with that. But another part that we do have to take into consideration, I hear a lot of people going in on Monet. And at the end of the day, she's a grown-ass woman. If you want to say you in charge, then you should be in charge. Bottom line is Monet is not fully in charge. Even though Tahita's been locked up, he's been the one that's still been running things and literally have all the control from jail. What he says goes. If you remember when everything first started in the beginning of the season and she was like, you know, Drew is not meant to be in charge or whatever. Kane is the oldest. He's literally a junior named after you. We find that out this episode, right? Then you would think he would be the one that's in charge. But Tahita's been the one that's been like, no, we're going to have Drew do it. And initially, Monet was like, Drew can't handle this. You don't understand what kind of boy he is. But then Drew has stepped up in ways where she was like, well, maybe I've been like, you know, looking at this all wrong. So you supposed to have Drew as the leader, you know, Kane as the muscle. This is Tahita's choice, but she's been going along with it. So, you know, that don't make her no better. And then you're supposed to have Diana for the finance. But she seems to have a problem with Diana going to school, whereas Tahita don't have no problem with that. And he seems like he's supportive. It seems like he's a little bit lenient when it comes to Diana. So Diana's the daddy's girl, right? And with her wanting to go to school and Monet standing in her way, I feel like she comes out the most with getting her father out of jail. This is all part of the reason why she wanted to get him out, why she took the money and did all of this without telling Monet. You understand what I'm saying? If anything, she comes out the most of anybody. To a certain degree, Drew would still be stuck, whether he's just with Monet or whether he's with just Tahita or whether he's with both of them together, because Tahita already is saying this is going to be who's going to be that second in command. He's not going to let Kane do it. So Kane don't benefit nothing out of it. And Drew, to a certain degree, don't benefit nothing out of it because he's still not going to be able to live his life the way he wants to. But it's going to be interesting to see which way this is all going to go, okay? And so basically, you know, Kane went in on her. And so then we have, like I said, Monet go and pissed off like, oh, well, you let Kane see you and, you know, he got the phone from you and you were supposed to do things right and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, listen, at the end of the day, I tried. I did everything that I could do. So far, I got the info that it's somebody named Mecca. I got the address. I could get more information for you if you need me to. And I found it interesting that when he said Mecca, that didn't seem to mean nothing to Monet, right? She only knows him by Dante. So even like, she didn't even let him get a chance to give the address. She was pretty much like, no, I don't care. It's too late. But that's what you said. Find out who the connect was. And he told you who the connect was. So now what's the problem? And she still kept going in on him like, oh, one day you got to pay for stuff and you going to learn today because you be getting away with too much stuff, which that's true too. Tariq has got away with a whole damn lot. Okay, I could not stand Tariq from the beginning, y'all. I told y'all in one of the first reviews I did for the first episode, I literally caught up on season 1 right before season 2 was about to start because I did not watch when season 1 when it initially aired because I was over Tariq ass. Okay, that's how pissed off he made me from the stuff he did in the original Power. But I can say that when it comes to this particular season and show, he's been doing more for y'all asses than he ever did for his own damn family, to be honest. And I'm like, come on, Monet, you've been messing up too. So nonetheless, Tariq gets sick of her behind, and he started going in on her too. He was like, first of all, you coming at me. You don't even know what's happening with your kids. He was like, number 1, Kane switched the supply to sugar. Number 2, Drew is still messing with Everett, which is the person that basically was name dropping all of us. And Diana's the one that stole the money from the safe. Okay, he made her look stupid. She was just stuck there. And then she basically unlocked the door and let him out or whatever. And he went running into the hearing. And of course they was like, you know, you coming in late. You looking a hot damn mess because his face all banged the hell up. But even with them going back and forth and them saying the grandmother was misusing the money, and the judge asked her, did she get help and did she go into therapy? She talking about some, I pray to God. No, judge, but I pray to God. Is like, no, ma'am, that's not good enough. And of course Tariq trying to use his little slick ways. Oh, well, judge, I love my grandmother and I care about my grandmother and I will pay for her to go to rehab, and I just want to have my sister with me and want to take care of my family because my family is the most important, and we already, basically been messed up and went through so much different things. And after he talks on his mess, the judge actually does grant him temporary custody, okay, in the meantime. So I'm like, okay. But little does he know, while that's going down, Kamal and the police is already searching his damn room, okay? Because they already had the warrant. And at first they like, we don't see nothing. They done tore the room up. The cop done look all in the trash and everything. And Kamal is like, no, it gotta be something somewhere. In the meantime that they saying they didn't find nothing, at first the dean was like, okay, then y'all gotta get on up out of here. And he's like, wait a minute, no, we still gonna look, some more. And Kamal opens up like 2 drawers. Of course, the second drawer is the one that Kane put the damn badge in. And of course, he finds it and he like, and I'm like, oh shit, Tariq, that's your ass. And so at this time, we got Monet coming back to Dante again. And now after Kane getting in her behind and Tariq getting in her behind, she's telling Dante she made a big mistake with her kids. She was doing a lot of things wrong and looking at things wrong, and she kissing him, and she basically saying, okay, we're going to try to do this, or whatever the case may be. And, he's saying, still kind of trying to be like, so can we go and talk to Zeke together and all of that type of stuff. But she still basically was telling him that she needs time as far as that. At the same time, we got Tariq coming up on campus, and you could see at first, like, Braden was going like this, like if he was trying to give her that he was trying to give him that signal, like, I can't even think of that daggone movie. I think it was Heat, when Val Kilmer girl was giving him the signal, but it was too late. By the time Tariq turned around, Kamal and them was on his behind, and they was like, Tariq St. Patrick, you are under the arrest for Jabari, and I think they put the cop on him too, Ramirez. I was like, and like I said, no, normally I'm not a Tariq fan, but I really didn't want him to go down for this. But the name of the class was Karma, right? So I guess this was his karma. You got away with so many other things, and now the one thing your ass really didn't do, well, he did actually finish Jabari off, but you know what I mean? A lot of the other things he got away with, and now, it's coming home to roost, right? And so Lauren is calling out at him like, Tariq, or whatever, not knowing that her ass done help with this shit too, right? But not knowingly. And Carrie raggedy behind, okay, I don't like you no more, Carrie. You gonna get yours too, sweetie. Your days is number, okay? I already said it. Like, Carrie, first of all, you put yourself in more danger by including yourself in this, and you put Lauren in danger, so I have no respect for you. You trash to me now, okay? She gonna talk about, oh, it's what he deserves, and yeah, it may be, but you gonna get what you deserve too, girl. Believe that. And Tariq is in jail because we have seen Davis get a call, and I'm thinking he getting a call about, Tariq, and he hurries up and hails a, cab. And at the same time, you see an officer come and say, your lawyer's here. So I'm expecting it to be Davis. But no, when he comes out, it's Alvin. He's there and he's like, listen, I was hoping I was never going to have to give you this letter. But if you ever went to jail for murder, I don't know what's in it, but your father had basically left this letter to be given to you. And so here it is. And basically when Tariq gets back in the cell, Ghost ass done wrote a damn letter that's saying, I knew you would end up here, little nigga. No, he didn't. Trifling. Trifling, Ghost. Trifling. Okay, he was like, I knew you was going to end up here. You right where I said you would be. Then Monet, she coming home from Mecca, or aka Dante, feeling like, okay, yeah, I'm about to switch shit up. Baby, she ain't know what was about to be switched up on her, okay? She getting closer and it's sounding like it's a party going on. And then she start hearing some Spanish or whatever. Walk in and all of them are sitting at the table with freaking Lorenzo at the head of the table like, Daddy's home. Daddy's home to stay. Okay? And they talking about some, Ma, how you kept this a secret all this time? Is this why you been acting so strange lately? And Monet just looked. She ain't know what the hell to say. I mean, what can she say? And he come and giving her a hug and she gonna talk about some, yeah. And in the meantime, she looking at Diana like, bitch, I know it was you. I know it was you. That was a good episode, y'all. I actually enjoyed it. Like, what do y'all think gonna happen now? Are we about to have the family split? Who y'all think is gonna be on what side? Do y'all think Carrie gonna get killed? Do y'all think Lauren gonna get killed? Do y'all think damn cop stalker Kevin gonna get killed? You had everybody looking at Tariq while he was getting pulled away. I actually felt a little tiny bitsy sad for him. But that was the episode, y'all. Put it all in the comments. Let me know what y'all thought about that. And please like, share, comment, like, share, comment. I appreciate it, y'all. Till next time, toodaloo.